Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us this Friday. I'm Jeanelle Slade.
And I'm Russ. As a Montana Highway Patrol trooper fights for his life, we are learning more about last night's shooting spree that left 1 dead and 3 wounded.
The suspect apparently confessing road rage after 2 separate shooting incidents, including an ambush that left Montana Highway Patrol trooper Wade Palmer in critical condition.
And the suspect in both shootings, 28-year-old Jonathan Birch, is now charged with murder and 3 counts of attempted murder. Now, there are 2 crime scenes, both the site of gun violence. Missoula police received the initial call shortly before 11 o'clock last night that multiple people had been shot in northwest Missoula.
About an hour later, Trooper Wade Palmer located the suspect's vehicle 10 miles away near the Evero Bar and Casino. Soon after, Trooper Palmer reported to dispatch he was under fire.
Again, this all began with 3 people shot near the Stone Creek Lodge. 1 man died on the scene. A second man and a woman are in the hospital with gunshot wounds. Police aren't sure what the connection is between the suspect and the victims, but court records state the trio had pulled over to help a driver of a white Escalade, and instead that driver, wielding 2 handguns and a rifle, opened fire on them.
Shortly after midnight, another trooper arrived at the Evero Bar and Casino, only to find Trooper Palmer wounded and unconscious and still seatbelted in his patrol car. Then just after 6 this morning, Missoula County Sheriff's Department officers arrested the suspect without incident. Birch had apparently called his father saying, "I had a road rage incident. I think I might have shot a cop."
Trooper Palmer was airlifted to Salt Lake City, where he was last reported in critical condition.
You know, this is one of those things where we all know it could happen. You know, we all leave our homes at the beginning of our shift. It's always in the back of our minds that it could happen. There's always that question of whether we're going to come home that night or that next morning. But when it actually happens and you see it and you know that person, or maybe you've worked with that person, it really hits hard. And, you know, we consider that law enforcement is one big family, and in this particular case, Trooper Palmer is one of our brothers. And you know, we're praying for him, and our hearts are breaking for him and his family and the whole department.
Trooper Wade Palmer has been with the Montana Highway Patrol since 2012. He's stationed in Detachment 112 in Missoula.
Palmer has a wife and 2 young children. In 2015, he was awarded the patrol's highest honor, the Medal of Valor, for his heroic life-saving efforts at the scene of a multiple vehicle crash involving a mother and her young children.
In other news, attorneys for 32 men who claim they were sexually abused by their former high school athletic trainer are rebutting a claim by the school district that that case should be dismissed. 79-year-old James Jensen pleaded guilty to federal charges of coercion earlier this week. He told the judge he's guilty of abusing 100 boys during his 30-year tenure at Custer County High School. Plaintiff's attorneys are taking issue with the school district's defense as evidence and interviews are still being collected prior to a jury trial. They say new evidence shows former coaches and administrators knew there was sexual conduct taking place and they failed to take action. They also say that the district's timing of when Jensen left the district is wrong in light of new evidence.
A Helena man is sentenced to 2 life sentences for killing his parents 1 year ago. Caleb Taylor was sentenced today in Lewis and Clark County courts.
Back in 2018, friends discovered the bodies of David and Charlotte Taylor in their Helena home. Prosecutors allege that Taylor burglarized his parents' business, but when they confronted him about it, he killed them. Taylor previously pleaded guilty to deliberate homicide as part of a plea agreement.
Westmoreland Coal Company has emerged from Chapter 11 bankruptcy, assuring Colstrip Power Plant a contract through the end of this year. But after that is uncertain. Westmoreland owns the Rosebud mine, which feeds the Colstrip Power Plant, the Absalica mine in south central Montana, and the Savage mine near Sydney. The future of these mines is unclear, but Westmoreland will honor its sales contracts with Colstrip and the others. But the new ownership group has not stated if it will continue supplying Colstrip. Now, Colstrip leaders are already searching for a possible replacement source if the Abselica mine is no longer an option.
Crow agencies under a drinking water warning because of a possible water line break. Crow DES Director Ed Eastman issued that warning around 6 tonight, advising residents to boil water for 3 minutes before using. Water pressure in the line dropped over the last few days. This morning, the Crow Tribe, the BIA, and Indian Health Services determined there was at least one break in the line. About half of the approximately 1,500 people who live in Crow Agency don't have any water right now. Bottled water and porta potties have been delivered to some neighborhoods. It's possible that break may be near Interstate 90 and Highway 212. With snow thawing and puddles in the area, it's been a challenge to determine the exact location of the break, they say. Eastman says it may still take a couple of days to find and fix that pipe.
A story that's making headlines around the world. The suspect in a pair of deadly attacks on 2 New Zealand mosques made his first appearance in court. The shootings left at least 49 people dead and dozens more injured. The mosques were packed for Friday prayers when the shooter opened fire, streaming the massacre live on Facebook. The suspect, a 28-year-old man originally from Australia, had posted an immigrant-hating manifesto on social media describing himself as a fascist and saying the killings were in response to Muslim immigrants. The former interim president of the University of Montana and her husband are traveling in New Zealand and were on the same street when the shooting broke out. MTN talked with Sheila Stearns and her husband Hal, a well-known Missoula historian, after the incident.
The sudden police cars everywhere. First time we had heard any police activity anytime we have been here in the country, and everybody was just going wild. Well, we were coming in on a street called Dean's Avenue, which, as it turns out, is where one of the mosques was located. This city is literally just at a stop. Almost 400,000 people, and everything is just cut down. All the TV stations, everything, are impacted. See, a moment in time that for Sheila and we're just blown away how tragic this all is. If everybody could include these good folks in their prayers and thoughts, because New Zealanders are the kindest, nicest people you'll ever meet.
Now, Hal says he feels they are safe and they are keeping in contact with local authorities.
All right, time now to check in on the weather scene. Chief Forecaster Bob McGuire is here to get us ready for that weekend. Bob?
Well, tomorrow, there's a lot going on because of St. Patrick's Day, and there's a lot of things on Saturday. So it'll be like 20 degrees in the morning and then getting up into the 40s later on in the day. But then on St. Patrick's Day, let me show you how that's going to break out. As you can see here, it'll start off at about 31 degrees at 10 o'clock in the morning. It'll get up to 40 degrees by 1 p.m. By 4 p.m., we'll be up around 41 degrees. And then by 7 p.m., it'll be right around 35 degrees. So it looks like it's not going to be too bad of a day. The only thing is we're probably going to start to see a few more increasing cloudy skies roll in on Sunday on St. Patrick's Day, but then that evening, probably sometime around 6 or 7 o'clock at night, we'll start to see those clouds roll on, and then Monday will be very nice, and we'll have more about that coming your way in a few more minutes.
All right, thanks, Bob.
Well, as Bob said, St. Patrick's Day is Sunday, and a weekend of celebration started tonight.
The Caledonian Pipes and Drums of Billings kicked off the festivities with the band's annual pub crawl. The last of 4 stops tonight, the Montana Brewing Company. This year, the pub crawl is a 3-day event. Here's a look at some of the other events around Billings this weekend. Tomorrow, it's a tradition of more than 30 years. The St. Patrick's Day Parade starts at 11 Saturday morning at the normal parade route. Directly following is the Celtic Fair downtown, which runs from 10 a.m. until 4 p.m. Also in the downtown area is Hooligan Street Party with musical act Kicking Karma. Now, to see a full list of weekend events, you can head to ktvq.com.
And tomorrow night, just outside the former Pug Mahones, there will be a special Billings Caledonian Band performance at 8:45 honoring the late Bill McIntyre.
If you can't make it, we'll bring you the story right here at 10 o'clock.
All right, ahead on tonight's 10 o'clock news, she is a woman of first, KOA's first female president and now CEO. We're going to meet the lead lady of North American camping.
And in sports, Scott shows us how the Grizz roll into your Big Sky Tournament Championship tomorrow night. Plus women's action at the NAIA National Tournament.
You're watching MTN News with Jeanelle Slade and Russ Riesinger. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire. And sports with Scott Breen. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.